India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has met France's President Emmanuel Macron at the Lok Bhavan of Maharashtra in Mumbai, marking a key engagement during the French leader's fourth visit to India and first visit to Mumbai. The discussions are expected to focus on strengthening the India-France strategic partnership with emphasis on defense cooperation, trade, innovation and other key global issues. They will also jointly inaugurate the India-France Year of Innovation 2026 with a focus on artificial intelligence, deep tech and clean energy. The day's schedule includes bilateral talks at the Lok Bhavan, followed by exchange of MOUs and a joint press statement at the Taj Palace Hotel, as well as an evening cultural event at the Gateway of India. Meanwhile, defense ties will also be in focus as Defense Minister of India, Rajnath Singh, holds talks with his French counterpart, Catherine Vautrin, in Bengaluru to boost defense cooperation and industrial collaboration. India and France are set to deepen a wide-ranging strategic partnership with the launch of the India-France Year of Innovation 2026, a year-long initiative focused on deep tech, AI, quantum research, semiconductors, clean energy and startups, with over 110 French companies engaging with India. Defense cooperation remains a key pillar. India has approved the acquisition of 114 Rafale fighter jets, the largest defense deal in its history, with most aircraft to be manufactured in India in partnership with Dassault Aviation of France, significantly boosting domestic defense production and air power. Naval capability is also expanding, with Rafale M fighters set to operate from INS Vikrant and INS Vikramaditya, alongside growing cooperation in helicopters, Hammer and SCALP missiles, and other Make in India defense projects. Beyond defense, though, the ties extend to nuclear energy through the Jaitapur project in Maharashtra, clean energy collaboration, and trade expansion beyond $15 billion, and strong historical and cultural links, making the India-France partnership one of the most trusted and comprehensive globally. We have Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, former Indian diplomat, joining us now on the broadcast. We also have Ambassador Jayant Dasgupta, former ambassador to the WTO, Professor Swaran Singh, School of International Studies, JNU, Group Captain V.N. Jha, Senior Scientist, Aerospace, and former Joint Director, DRDO. Thank you, all of you, for taking time to be with us. It's a very special day, a very special visit. Fourth time Macron is in India, first time is in Mumbai. Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, do you find that interesting that, this bilateral visit, usually it is, Delhi that hosts the beginning of a bilateral visit. We've seen other options as well, Prime Minister Modi taking the Chennai route for China. But then this is interesting that France is beginning with the Mumbai.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on your show. Prime Minister Modi has had high-level interactions with leaders of different countries at different venues in India. I think this is a way to showcase the multifaceted and multicultural dimension of India. And you would recall that he met the Chinese Premier Xi Jinping in Mahabaleshwarapuram, but he also had met him earlier in Gujarat. And likewise, he has had these high-level interactions in different places. And his meeting with President Macron taking place at Mumbai is yet another step in this direction to show that India is not just concentrated around its capital, New Delhi, but it has a number of highly important places like Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, Bengaluru, and so on and so forth. Now, today's meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Emmanuel Macron in Mumbai is going to be a high-stakes encounter aimed at deepening the India-France strategic partnership through new defense technology, other forms of technology, and innovation milestones. And as I see it, there are some key objectives. Firstly, the inauguration of the Year of Innovation 2026. The leaders will formally launch this year-long initiative at the Gateway of India to foster collaboration among startups, researchers, and tech giants from both nations. Then, of course, another very important aspect is the major defense agreements. These discussions are expected to advance the procurement of 114 Rafale fighter jets for the Indian Air Force and 3 Kalvari-class submarines for the Navy. So close to a dozen MOUs spanning defense, health, and supply chains are expected to be signed. Then, of course, there is this issue of AI leadership. And this meeting serves as a prelude to their participation at the India AI Impact Summit 2026 in New Delhi, reinforcing their joint commitment to ethical and human-centric AI development. And then, of course, not to be missed is the aspect of strategic autonomy and the Indo-Pacific, because both leaders will review the Horizon 2047 roadmap, focusing on maritime security in the Indo-Pacific, where France is a key resident power. So these are my opening comments,
Okay.
and I will come back to you with additional points
Fair enough,
during
sir.
the course of our discussion.
Fair enough, sir. Please stay with us. Let me take this across to another ambassador, Ambassador Jayant Dasgupta, former ambassador to the WTO. Lots of, while defense is making all the headlines, it is the biggest, defense deal India has done. Trade is not exactly number two to that, because it comes very close after the India EU FTA. All eyes on that. All eyes on how that's going to play out for Indians. Let's talk about that for a bit, isn't it, Ambassador Jayant Dasgupta? The expectation is that we will get cheaper everything from cheaper French wines to champagnes to French cars. That's the expectation, and for that deal to take effect, lot needs to go right between India and France in terms of their own bilateral relationship.
That is true. The trade levels at the moment with France are not very high.
Yeah.
I think bilateral trade is just about $15 billion, whereas France, being one of the leading economies of the world, the trade should have been much more. And of course, as you have pointed out, wines and spirits are one area, niche area for France. But France has also a lot of technology to offer. And Renault, for instance, is already here in the auto sector. But France has this niche technology in small cars, which is comparable to that of the Japanese and the Koreans. So it could compete, and with the relaxation in the form of the India-EU trade deal would, I think, accelerate that process. But apart from this, the development of AI, I think, and in which the French will, of course, provide their technology, their resources, but investments also are something which India looks forward to, because AI requires a lot of computing power, and that comes in the form of the graphic processing units and a lot of other hardware. And that is where I think India will look forward to France in taking this AI and innovation talks further and get them implemented on the ground. So that is another area in trade. And finally, I think this, of course, it is part of the Indo-EU agreement, but France and Germany, they are two of the countries which require a lot of trained and skilled manpower. So India would also be looking towards having some kind of an arrangement with the French for skilled Indian professionals, not only in the software sector, in computer science and artificial intelligence, but in healthcare, in other fields with specialization,
Right.
to be allowed to go and work in France.
Okay. Absolutely fair point. I was going to get to that. The people-to-people ties. Professor Swaran saying, amidst all this big talk of from everything from defense to trade deals, the people-to-people ties between India and France that needs to be stepped up, especially Dr. Ambassador Jaindas was talking about, in terms of skilled manpower, being able to, find employment, find work. There's also so much that can be done on the cultural and educational front as well.
Indeed. In fact, right from day one, culture and diaspora have been very much drivers of Prime Minister Modi's foreign policy. So whether it is today evening cultural show at India Gate in Mumbai, or you would remember 2024 included visit to Jaipur, where there was a road show in old part of the city with the colored masala chai being offered to President Macron. He was using UPI at that time. So cultural connect and people-to-people connect between India and France is really very strong. Sometimes it's also seen as intangible pillar of the relationship. And that is why, several people, including President Macron, has often said that India is, like France of Asia and France is India of Europe. So intangible connects between these two are really significant, but also tangibles. I think if you look at the kind of reality that President Macron has been facing at home, both internal instability, protests, and his inability to resolve Ukraine crisis despite his taking a great deal of lead, President Trump trying to disentangle from Europe, putting pressure on European nations, and France being a major one among them, to take defense budget to 5% of GDP, in which 1.4% will be defense production.
Yeah.
From this perspective as well, his India visit comes as a very great opportunity for President Macron, who's going to sign Rafale deal of about $35 billion, largest in India's history. But in that sense, it is going to boost the defense sector of France, and of course make India's defense production, defense innovation and research and development also much more competitive, not just at home, but also in global market as well.
Group Captain Vianja, obviously, the talk is always going to go towards Rafale and the 114 Rafales, that deal. And more importantly, while that deal is there for 114, the largest ever, so much of it is going to come from India, manufactured in India. And clearly, it's the technology transfer that everybody is looking forward to.
Absolutely, Mr. Krishnan. Look, when Modi is in the business, assume there is more than just simple trade, because he is looking towards the Atmanirbhar India. And today, for the Indian Air Force especially, we are slightly handicapped because of the backstabbing by the US, technological associations, which has failed us somewhere in bringing up our Tejas Mark 1A into the air and as our strength. But having said that, we are only not looking at the engines for the Tejas. We are also looking for the Atmanirbhar tomorrows. And for that, we are also looking at the Tejas Mark II. We are looking for AMCA. And at the same time, the future generation aircraft, sixth generation aircraft that we are talking of, which can guide a swarm of drones in front of it and then be, categorized as generation 6 or generation 6.5, whatever you can call it. So it's not only the Rafale deal that we are looking at. Of course, when the Rafale deal was signed in 2015, we were slightly taken aback that why only 2 squadrons of it? It doesn't, serve you the purpose. Once you have a fleet, you must have many of its squadrons so that you are well, prepared for all spares, all operations, all replacement, any attrition that takes place. So all these were on the force. So we were slightly surprised. But then Rafale marine version has come. So now we are slightly at about, say, 3.5 squadrons.
Right.
We are aiming at the strength of about 7 to 8 squadrons of Rafale. I will not be surprised if Modi insists that the entire technology transfer Make in India program for the Rafale is being done. So it will be difficult because the upgradation version